Hi, and welcome to the tutorial for Infiltrators. I'm going to be demoing the easy mode, or the kind of normal mode that has you set up, and hopefully do it well. So the first thing in setup is to pick your character. So this time around we have chosen Jubei. Over here you can see he is our ninja character, and you take his card and you place 4 of these clear tokens over top of the X's and the ultra on the top, and then you place the hand size marker starting on 4, which indicates your initial hand size. Every character starts with a basic starting deck of 3 of each type of the basic action cards. So 3 run, 3 sneak, and 3 fight. They are all that are in the game, so it's pretty easy to locate these. You take these and you shuffle in the individual unique cards for your character. There are 3 characters in the game, so Jubei, each one of them has, in each of the colors, the red, green, and blue, they have a special card, which both provides specific abilities, and some of them you can trash for additional abilities. We'll do that later. So you take these and you shuffle them all together. The Mac artwork is by my brother, Josh McCown. I really appreciate what he did there. Next, after you've created your starting deck that way, set that to the side, a little off screen. Sorry, I can't fit everything on screen here. You take the character's starting item, which in this case for Jubei is the katana. You can see it says starting item, and there is a unlocked side and a locked side, and everything starts locked side up, and that down there tells you what you need to do to unlock it. And then you pick 2 out of their 3 skills. Again, there will be a locked side and an unlocked side, and so when you first start, you might not exactly know what is helpful and what is not, but there are always 3 to choose from, so 1 gets kind of discarded aside. So I've decided to pick up Ninjutsu and Chi and set Assassin to the side for this game. Okay. All right. The next thing we do is we find the entrance card, which is always the first card of the game. And as you can see, it's titled Entrance, and we set it right up above here. We're leaving space to go 3 rows of 4, right? And so, and we place our main character, which is this little guy right here, on top of the entrance to show where we're starting from. So next, like I said, we're going to set up the normal mode, which means that we're using the 1A floors for the first 2 floors, and so that's this batch right here. When you want to play slightly more challenging, you're only going to do the first floor with these guys. These are slightly easier rooms. All right, so we shuffle those up, and we deal 2 floors face up, and a floor is 4 cards across. So there we go. Cards assigned. We pull out the 1B floors with the purple background. These ones are going to be slightly tougher. And again, we're going to deal out that top floor. And go 1. I'll, I believe, change my angle once the game gets going to do a little bit more of a top-down for this, but for setup, we'll stay like this. All right. And then set aside the remaining cards. And then lastly, we take our boss rooms, which you can see the color difference as well as the kind of layout difference. You shuffle these up, and we randomly take 4 that we're not going to look at right now. And I'm going to 3, 4, put the remaining ones in the box, and I'm going to set these up with the, here, let me move them so you can see them, the boss up there, so that we know that this is our room draw pile. It sits in a slightly different place in TTS, but wherever you want. You just know that that's going to be the 4th floor when we get there. Next, we're going to set up the stairwell. So the stairwells are represented by these little tokens. So you start on the entrance, and you're working your way to the right. So the lock stairwell is to your left. And then to the right, you see the stairwell that allows you to access the next floor to 1 to 2. And when you go up, you're going to be going right to left. So you start with a locked stairwell, and you move your way to 2 to 3, etc. So it just keeps, zigging and zagging as you go through. The bottom 2 tokens, the locked stairwell on the first floor, does have a flip side, so that when the boss floor is revealed, these are just simply kind of moved up to the top. We'll show you that when we get to a clear floor action. Additionally, we'll talk more about this in a bit, but the reason that there are a blue meeple there, and then later when this flips, a green meeple, is it tells you when alarms are set off what kind of guards populate on that floor. Okay, the next piece is that we look for the green or blue guard symbols on the cards, and anywhere that is, we are going to put guards in. So green guard there, green guard here. Oh, additionally, there are only 2 cards in the game that have this little symbol up there. And when you see that, it means you place the corresponding token on it. It just reminds you that this particular card is active even when you're not in it. And so in this case, it allows guards to move up and down from the same column that they are in. So we're going to go ahead and find that token. There it is. And place it. We'll place it right there so that we remember that they can go directly down from there. Normally, guards can only go from the stairwells on the side. Okay, and a green guard, and a blue guard, and a blue guard, blue guard, blue guard, blue guard. Okay, so we got that all set up. We've got our stairwell set up. Up top, you're going to set up your basically your market. There's the wound cards. In this game, there's one way to win, which is to knock the boss off of the helipad, which I realize I have to dig out and set up in a second. And that's the way you win. You can lose by running out of time, gaining all 4 wounds and then not being able to draw a new one, or the boss reaching the helipad before you do. And then up here goes, these are the upgraded cards. You can see they provide 2 action points apiece. They're still in the primary colors. There's 3 each of these. So there's the pummel, which is like the upgraded fight, the sprint, which is the upgraded run, the covert, which is the upgraded sneak, and then ultra cards, which, as you can see, they can be used as any basic run, fight, or sneak, as well as they trigger certain things that can only be triggered by ultra cards. The only way you get ultra cards in the game is if by clearing every room in a floor. We'll go over all this stuff again, because every time you clear a room, you place one of these tokens, and when you've placed all of them, you will uncover that symbol and immediately add an ultra to your hand. Okay, let me get those guys back on there. All right. Last part of the floors, you've got this little guy right here. You can see it says floor 2, and what that tells you is when you get to the second floor, you immediately increase your hand size by 1, and then what's going to happen is when you take that, you'll flip it and put it on the 4th floor. So your hand size increases as you go up the floors, and so that's just a little reminder that that's what happens. So that goes on the first room of the 2nd floor, which means the rightmost card of the 2nd floor. A couple other things going on here, a little off screen. I've got the reference cards for the blue guard and the green guard. This just tells you what it takes to defeat them and the kind of things you can trade them in for. We'll go over that in a bit. I've got my alarm token off to the side as needed. Over here we've got the events pile. So these are these purple cards. Oops, actually I accidentally left out some rooms. So there we go. So these are events that'll show up throughout the game. So you just kind of, shuffle these and set them to the side to draw from. We'll cover those in a little bit. And then I've said lastly a few times, but I think it is lastly, we're just going to set up the items. I've got them in stacks just so they fit in a little better. You can spread them out, obviously, if you have the room. And there are, these are items you can earn. There's blue and green, and those are earned respectively by taking out guards of the same color, and you can trade them in for that, or you can trade in 3 guards or find in other ways the red items, which tend to be more powerful, things like a pistol and a grenade and stuff like that. Okay, so that is the initial set up for Infiltrators, and so the only other thing to do to get started is to draw 4 cards from our draw pile, 3, 4, that we have previously set up, and this is what we'll be starting the game with. Okay, so every game begins on the entrance. And let's talk a little bit about room cards, so because they're all going to look a little bit similar. So you've got the title of the card up here, and then everything with the italicized text, the white inside the black, are your options for interacting. And basically the way this game works is that every time you're in a room, you have to interact with it in order to move on, but how you interact with it will result in different things. So underneath the interaction option is the cost. And so here we see this would cost, these are symbols for action points, and so this would cost 2 run points to open a window, or 2 stealth points, sneak points, excuse me, to pick the lock, or you could spend just 1 fight point to break down the door, but it would result in an alarm. So basically, whatever you see as a cost, if there's a colon, that's a consequence or sometimes a benefit as well. Okay, the numbers are only meaningful for a tutorial mission. Don't worry about that so much. And so that's kind of how that works. And then later on, this is a deck builder. If this card were to end up as part of your deck, you would rotate it this way, and then up here tells you kind of what the card can be used for. In this case, there are some icons to learn. There's a little cheat card for the icons as well. In this one, you would look at the top 2 cards, you would add 1 to your hand, and bury the other one at the bottom of the deck. So that's only going to be meaningful when it becomes part of your hand, which we'll cover in a little bit. So again, this is always the first choice you're faced with, but every game's after that is going to be a little bit different. So here we are, and this is our opening hand, and you can see we do have enough to pick the lock, which would be 2 sneak points. We also could, a little bit more cheaply, set off the alarm by producing that fight point. As you can see, this one can be used as a fight point, or I can trash it to kill all blue guards in my current room. I only have 1 run point, and that one, again, can be spent as a run point, or you can trash it to become hidden in the current room only. We'll discuss hidden a little bit. One other thing about the game, so right now it looks like I only have 2 options, but in Infiltrators you can always combine any 2 action points as a substitute for another one. So if I really wanted to complete that open window, those 2 run points, I could spend my parkour and I could combine any one of these other 2 cards for the second run point and still be able to pass that. It's not efficient right now, but that becomes important later on. So thinking through it really quick, while breaking down the door is cheap, I would set off an alarm, and let me just talk through what an alarm does really quickly so I can show you why that is probably not the option I'm going to use right now. So when you set off an alarm in the game, you place the alarm token where it was set off. That's normally the room you're in. There are such things as false alarms where you can set them off other places. And so what would happen in the case of an alarm is every blue guard on the floor you're on, or the floor the alarm token is on, and an adjacent floor, so up above, would move 1 space towards the alarm marker. Now, in this game, as you can see, the left stairwell to my left is locked for me, but none of the stairwells are locked for the guards, so they may freely go up and down the extremes. So if the alarm were set off, I would clear the card, but this guy would come down, this guy would come over, this guy would start working his way over, and this guy would work over. And then lastly, a blue guard is added to the room above wherever the alarm was triggered. So that would be the position I would put myself in. While it would save me some cards, I would then have a little bit of an issue, especially since I would have spent my red and I couldn't use it to kill them all. So we're not going to do that. Go ahead and get everybody back where they were. And instead, we're going to go ahead and produce 2 sneaks to pass the pick the lock option, okay? And so all that's going to do, a little off screen here, but you discard cards to produce the action points. And if you make a play where you make more action points than you need, they persist till the end of your turn, so there's nothing wasted. So yes, I discard these 2. I spend 2 sneak points. I pick the lock, which means I take interacting with a room, clears it. And clearing a room means you remove one of these little tokens from your card and you put it here to show that you cleared the room. There are exceptions in the game. I'll show you, for example, the air duct. So if an interaction option specifically has that symbol, it means you do not clear it. You have interacted, so you can move on, but you don't clear the card. And clearing the card just means that it's an option to add to your deck later, which we'll explain when we do a clear floor. So only the default is interacting clears. Okay, so all right, set this guy back here. Okay. In any case, we've cleared it. We've had our first clear room token, and that's a good thing because if we, as I said before, do all four, we get an ultra card in our hand, and these are options for deck building later on. Sometimes you may need to move quickly, which is why you may choose an option that does not clear just because it's more cheap. Okay, so looking at the next room, the air duct, we can see that costs a lot of run. I either need 3 run and a fight, and I can become hidden and gain a upgraded card, the sprint card, or I can spend 2 run points to become hidden, or I can just spend 1 run point and nothing happens, but I have interacted with the room and I do not clear. The other issue is there's a blue garden here, so unless I am... So being hidden allows you to avoid encounters, and if I'm not hidden, when I'm in the same room as a guard, I'm in an encounter, and what that means is I cannot move on. I am welcome to interact with the room first if I wish, if that's helpful, but I basically have to fight them. If I am unable to beat them, if I end my turn in a room with a guard, I gain a wound into my discard pile, and I won't bother with all the text, but basically there's ways to heal these, but these kind of gum up your hand, and again, if you draw 4 and you can't draw another one, it's game over. So usually not a good idea, but you will. So it's worth taking some sometimes. Or I can pay one of the costs to defeat them, and so blue guards, a regular kill is a fight and a run, which I do have enough for, but it would cause an alarm and move all guards 1 space towards me. However, that might be worth it because there's not, it's not going to put anybody directly in the room with me. And you can see to pull off kills that don't set off alarms cost a few more cards. So a fight and 2 sneak for a stealth kill, and 2 fight and a run for a style kill. Okay, so that's what blue guards take. I'm going to go ahead and, yes, we'll move in here. We're going to spend a... I mean, I could become hidden, but I think I'm going to go ahead and kill him. We'll spend a fight and a run to kill that blue guard. And then I get him, and he becomes part of my supply. Now, blue guards, as you can see over here, I could just hold on to him when I need him, but I could trade 1 in for an item, or I could trade 2 in to draw a card. That doesn't seem like a good deal, but you'll get it later in the game why that's the case. So first things first, I'm going to deal with that alarm. So I kill them, I set off an alarm, which means everybody, he's going to move down here, right? He's going to take the shortest path to the alarm. This guy is going to, so it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, so it's equal. So it's up to us. We'll send him that way. And then this guy is going to move 1 space towards here. And lastly, we add a blue guard in the room above the alarm, and then we remove the alarm token. Okay. Continuing on with my turn, I'm going to go ahead and trade in this blue guard for one of the blue items. And so these are the options for the blue items. You've got a first aid kit, which allows you to heal and draw a card. Right now I'm not dealing with any wounds, not too worried about it. Nightstick is nice. You can exhaust it to produce a fight point, and it refreshes at the end of every turn. So that's basically a fight point every turn. So that's pretty useful as well. And, you know, there is another blue guard coming up. But then there's also this guard uniform, which I can use kind of like being hidden, ignore guards for 1 turn, slightly different. Or I can use it to pass stealth options. So let me quickly explain what a stealth option is and why I might want to do that. The surveillance room has an example of that. So whenever you see that symbol, it means that if you have something that produces, allows you to pass stealth, you can alternatively use that instead of this cost. So that's one good thing about that. The other important thing about that is that you can see that one of my unlockables, to unlock it, I would pass 2 stealth tests. So passing those is worth it, because if I unlock it, then I gain my ninjutsu abilities, which allows me to dodge boss attacks, which will happen both from events and during the boss fight, or I can tap it and spend a stealth to become hidden or pass another stealth test. So, and that's once a floor. So that's pretty useful, and I want to work towards that. So I think for now, though, because I'm going to be facing another blue guard and I'll have a chance to get that guard uniform later, I'm going to go ahead and take the nightstick. And I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit here so you can see that kind of items go down below. Maybe like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good enough. Items go down below. And then, as you use them, you just kind of, tap them to show when they're used, and untap, refresh, excuse me, exhaust and refresh. I don't want to get sued by anybody. Okay. And so I exchange the guard for that. So the guard goes back into the supply when I've done that. And now I have no cards left. I do have a nightstick. The next room is the guest room. But if I walked in there, I wouldn't be able to do anything about that guard, and it would just cause me to take a wound. And that's just not worth it. So I'm going to end my turn. One ends one's turn when you need to draw more cards. And I realized I did forget something from the setup, which are these little timer guys up here. So above each column, 1, 2, 3, 4 are these timers. And what happens is when you want to end your turn, you flip the leftmost timer, and it's going to show you that it's an event, right? And so 1 through 3 will cause an event. If you flip 4, you'll take a wound, and if you have no timers to flip, it's game over. So that's one of the ways the game can end, is running out of time. But in any case, I had to end my turn, so the first thing that happens is an event. What you do is you don't draw them right away. You take the top one and you shuffle it into your draw pile, so it'll mess with you later. You don't know when it's going to come up, so obviously we'll get to use that as an example later, or maybe this next turn. Okay, so I've done that, and then I dropped my hand size, which is 4. So 1, 2, 3, and I did draw that event. So let's take a look at events. First, you can see the upper text. When revealed, set aside and draw another card to replace it. When you finish drawing, trigger the event and then discard it. So that helps you remember your hand size is still 4. It doesn't gum up your hand that way, so I get to draw one more, which won't be an event because we know we only have one event in there. And now we trigger it. It says, add a blue guard to the leftmost room on the next level. And underneath you'll see there's special instructions if this is drawn during the boss battle. We're not in the boss battle, so we're just going to add a blue guard to the leftmost room of the next level. So that would be this one right here. So yet another guard up there. And then we discard this guy. That's an event for you. There are a bunch. There's one good event. We'll see if it shows up during this game. Everything else is not good for you, but that one wasn't too bad. Just makes it tougher next floor. Okay, so now we've got some options. The next room, we still got to clear the room we're in. So we're in that air duct, and I can, let's see, I've got a few different options here. Now if I could come up with 3 blue and a red, let's see, 1, 2, which I could do. I could gain a sprint card and become hidden. So let's do that. That sounds like a really good idea. So, first, we're going to use the run here, and we're going to combine those 2 sneaks. This is one of his unique cards. Each character has a unique card that provides 3 AP on it. So I'm going to combine those 2. So now we've got 2 run, 3 run. Okay. And for the fight, I'm going to tap my nightstick for that fight point. And now I have interacted with this, and like we said, I become hidden, and I gain a sprint, right? So first, I've interacted, so I'm going to place another clear token. I am going to grab a sprint from up top. In this game, when you earn a card, it goes directly into your hand, okay? And now I am hidden, so when I jump into this next room, I don't have to encounter the guard if I don't want to. But I may want to anyways. Okay, so my options for this guest room are I can tiptoe by spending 2 green and a blue, or I can just spend a blue, and set off the alarm and not clear the room. I am probably... And then I can walk by the guard, but if I set off the alarm, that's going to end my hidden status. So let's see. So maybe we should take out that guard first. Again, looking at our options there. A style kill is 2 a red and a blue. And that would not cause an alarm, and I would be able to get that guard uniform that I'm going to need for the next room. I mean, I don't need it for the next room, but it's a good option. So let's do that. So we can do a fight, combine one of the runs with a sneak for the second fight, and then the leftover run, and that is enough for a style kill. And we'll kill that blue guard, and we'll immediately trade them in for a guard uniform. And now I still have not interacted with the room, so I can't move on. So I'm going to end my turn because, again, I'm out of cards. My nightstick is tapped. Okay, so I'm ending my turn. I refresh it. I flip the second timer, and I draw an event and put it into my draw pile. And I get to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good chance I'm going to get another event here. Yep, I did. So again, when you get it, set it aside, draw a fresh card, okay? And then I see what happens here. Guard. Add a green guard to the leftmost room on the next level. Okay, next level is has a tough ending for me there. All right, but we're done with that. And now I am dealing with the guest room. So again, if I want to clear it, I need to come up with 2 sneak and a run. I've got a run. And I don't. Oh, no. Well, actually, I can pull it off. I'm going to tap my nightstick for a fight, and then another fight for one of those sneaks. Second sneak, combine these 2, and my run. I had to spend all my cards, but I was able to clear it, so I put the clear here. I jump over to the surveillance room, which, again, there's a few different options here. That's a false alarm symbol, so if I did this one, I'd be able to set an alarm anywhere, which might help, clear out some of the guards I'm concerned about. I could trick them down a floor or something like that. But I am interested in passing stealth, and I have this guard uniform, which I can trash to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and trash the guard uniform in order to sneak by. And so a couple things are going to happen here. One, I'm going to clear the room, which is the final room. So it means I get an ultra card, which again, when you get cards in this game, directly into your hand. So now I have an ultra card. Additionally, I passed a stealth option, so I get to put 1 objective marker on here. And if I do another one along the way in the game, which I'm unsure that there will be another opportunity in this particular setup, I'll be able to unlock my ninjutsu. Not everything is possible in every game. Some kind of always are. Like the katana, you're always going to be able to unlock. The starting items usually have things that can always happen. Chi you can always set up as well. But ninjutsu, there might not necessarily be the stealth test to do. Okay, so I gained my ultra card. And now let me demonstrate one more thing here, and then we'll skip ahead to the boss battle. I'm not going to do a full run through here. So I'm at the end, and as you can see, there's a elevator here to go 1 to 2, which means I can go in the card above. So a couple things are going to happen. One, I move my guy up here. This marker, I'm going to set it aside, but it shows that I increase my hand size by 1, so I'm just going to move my little hand marker. So now my hand size is 5. And lastly, for every timer remaining, so I have 2 timers remaining up there, you can see I can take one of the cards that I've cleared that has a clear on it and add it directly to my hand, and it becomes part of my deck afterwards. So I think that looks like I'm going to go ahead and grab this guy, surveillance room, because I can use as a wild or trash it for an ultra, which is really super useful. So I'll put that in my hand. And then my other options, let's see what we got here. The guest room can reliably be used to draw a card, which is kind of like, it's just a nothing. You trade 1 card for another, but if you trash it, you can draw 3 cards, so it could be useful in specific situations. The air duct, we do put all these clear tokens back. You could trash to produce 2 sneak points, pretty useful. Or the entrance that I described previously allows you to look at top 2 cards, keep 1, and put the other in the bottom. Helps you kind of get around events, get what you need in your hand. I can see that I'm going to need a lot of sneaks, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this air duct, add to my hand. The remaining cards go into the trash pile, and then any guards that were there are gone, so that's a reason to kind of trick guards with alarms. They go back into the supply. And now we complete a clear floor action, which looks like this. You move down all the current floors. Now that security elevator is going to become an issue, potentially. And you deal a brand new final floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the bottom stairwells flip, and everything else moves down to show what's going on now. So before you could see, still when I set off alarms on this floor, it's going to be a blue guard, but when I set off alarms on this floor, it's going to add a green guard. That's what that lets you know is in those locked stairwells. So things shift around. The elevator now is to the left, so I'm going to be working my way from the right to the left. We reset any timers, and lastly, I'm just going to show you the one thing I missed kind of at the beginning. Is the helipad should actually be somewhere up here, and then you always starts with a green guard. So once we do get up to the balcony, we're going to be working our way to the helipad and racing the boss. And that is where I'll next meet you. I believe we've covered just about everything. Haven't unlocked any of my abilities yet, but those work exactly like the items do. Well, sometimes some tap, others just provide ongoing things. So for instance, if I manage to unlock this katana, which I'm sure I will, now I can spend run as if they were fight points, really useful, or I can spend an ultra to get 2 fight points and draw a card. So the different unlocks, if I manage to kill 2 guards in a room, I get chi, which allows me, just like the nightstick, yet another exhaust in order to make a fight point, so that's really good for fighting. And if I manage to unlock the ninjutsu, I already described this one. Okay, I'm gonna set up for the boss battle. I'll see you in a second. Okay, welcome back to the boss battle. In between now and then, built up the deck some more, added some more cards, earned some more upgrade cards, earned some more ultras, unlocked some abilities, and snagged some additional items, which there we go. Some additional items from some green guards and things like that. So we're ready for this. So at the point that you enter the balcony floor, one of the things I did miss from before is, this token that I grabbed for the hand size would have gotten flipped and put up there. So you grab it and you increase your hand size. So we're now at a hand size of 6. And basically the way boss fights work is every time you enter a boss room, like I have just now by ascending to this floor, I've cleared away all the other cards, the rooms, because they go away anyways. They become part of your deck and or get trashed. You shuffle up the boss cards, which were up there before, the boss room cards, and you flip one, and you trigger that line. So down here you see hard mode. We're not worried about that right now. That's for other difficulty levels. There are additional things, a lot of different things you can do to tweak the difficulty, but we're playing it easy. So right now we're only worried about basically the color or the the symbol. So it activates fight, and if you look at a boss card, there are always 3 different things that can happen based on whether you draw the run, the sneak, or the fight. So the fight says don't look down, and it tells us to add 3 blue guards to the card, as well as these little guys represent boss attacks. This one's a pretty brutal boss attack. 2 blue and 2 green. And so what these mean is you can produce AP to block them. So to run and to sneak, AP would completely block them, but for everything you leave unblocked, you draw a wound. So let's go ahead and see how this goes out for this room. We're not going to go through the whole boss battle, but let you get the idea. So let's add those 3 blue guards. Okay, so they're all right here in the room. Oh, the other thing about boss rooms is you'll see 2 little symbols on the right. One says no alarms. So we're not worried about alarms anymore. We can kill guards as efficiently as possible. They're all done. The other thing tells you that you can't enter a boss room any other from below, which is an option with a security elevator, potentially. Okay, so we got those 3 guards. Now let's deal with those attacks. So let's see what we got. So we got 2 blues and 2 greens to block, and I do have the sprint here. So let's definitely block 2 of them, and now we got the 2 greens to deal with. Let's use this one to draw 2 additional cards and see what we get. 1, 2. Oh, kind of perfect. Look at that. We will go ahead and use the 2 greens from this guy, and we have a leftover run point to use. So we've blocked everything from the boss, and now we've got to deal with these 3 blue guards. And as you remember, the blue guards, the cheapest way to kill them is a fight and a run. So let's see what we can do. So I picked up this pistol along the way, which you can see under double tap. I can exhaust it to produce exactly that fight and a run. It causes an alarm, but no alarms while we're on the boss floor, so let's do it. So we're going to tap it, and that's going to take out one of these guys. And then if you look, to unexhaust it, you trade in 2 blue guards. And I happen to have one left over my pile, so I'm going to trade in both to refresh it and tap it again to kill another blue guard who goes into my supply. And then for the remaining one, I am going to go ahead and do I'm going to tap my key ring, which allows me to use for either a run or a sneak to do a run. And then I'm going to spend a fight and take out the final one. And then I would be able to, if I choose, move on to the next room, which would cause him to, again, reveal a card every time you move in and trigger another line. Or I could, choose to draw back up. I think I would keep going at this point. I've got some pretty good cards. Rest of the boss battle to explain really quickly. Again, I don't need to give you an example of every room. When you do end your turn, so normally in the game you'd be flipping these timers, but now you see you got the big boss right up here. Every time you end your turn now, he's going to move 1 space towards that helipad, and if he gets here before you do, that's the end of the game. So basically you have 4 turns to defeat all of these. If you get here first and defeat any guards that are on this card, which right now there's only 1, but there could be more by the end of the game, as you can see, you push him over, and that little symbol there means you can beat something by an objective as opposed to a cost. And so in this case it would be killing all guards here, and you defeat the boss, as you see. If he gets here first, he escapes, and it is game over. Hopefully we would fight. We're in pretty good shape here. Fight our way all the way through, get here, and win the game. So that's how you play Infiltrators. I would love to hear any feedback. You can reach me at galensgamedesigns@gmail.com, and also please check out the website for my other stuff, galensgames.com, and this is available on Tabletop Simulator as well as a print and play, and I may make it available at the Game Crafter sometime. This is where this particular build is from. Okay, thank you.